This is English Shorthand Dictation number 46 and the dictation speed is 140 words per minute. Ready? Start. Honorable Chairperson, the annual address by the Honorable President has traditionally offered both the Houses of Parliament an opportunity to listen to the accomplishments of the government of the day. It serves as a report card on the work that has been achieved in the previous year. What do we expect from any government? It is security, development, conditions to promote growth and the well-being of the people and to fulfill the aspirations of our young society. All of us in this house waited eagerly for an honest and a comprehensive account of the challenges and successes of this government in the last year. But we were sadly given an exercise in which facts gave way to fiction. The address was a soaring rhetoric and was completely divorced from the abject reality of our country's social and economic situation. A concerted effort has been made to mask the failures of the much advertised flagship schemes of the present government. There is a deliberate attempt to mask the way in which this present government has embraced failure and mediocrity under dearth of solutions and ideas to take India forward. We are now used to all of these aspects from this government. The fact is that the President's address failed to even speak of the constitutional and political crisis that our country is facing in the face of nationwide protests. It was not just disappointing but an abdication of any moral responsibility by the ruling dispensation. There was a mention of India's progress on the Ease of Doing Business Index. Of course, there was no mention of our alarming and shameful fall in the Democracy Index, Global Competitiveness Index, Global Peace Index, and even in the Press Freedom Index. There were ample mentions of the illusionary promise of a $5 trillion economy by 2024. However, there was no mention of our lowest growth rates in 4 decades, alarming fall in the private consumption, rising inflation, record unemployment, plummeting investments, and agricultural distress. You know that according to every economist, a $5 trillion economy requires 12% growth a year. I am sure that the Honorable President should have been informed about it. Even our Honorable Finance Minister only claimed nominal growth of 10% in the future, of which you have to subtract inflation. The Consumer Price Index in December 2019 was at 6.7%, which means that our growth rate last month was 3.3%. You compare that to 12% and you realize that $5 trillion economy is a pipe dream. Of course, there was a usual lip service paid to Skill India, Digital India and Startup India, but there was no mention of Stand Up India. Since you are so busy banning stand-up comedians, there was no admission that your government's schemes should really be renamed as Sit Down India, Shut Down India and Shut Up India. I would like to take just one example. This government holds the record for the largest number of internet shutdowns in Jammu and Kashmir and the longest communications blockade and internet suspensions on any country in the world. Now, frankly, the Honorable President was required to make extravagant claims about various government schemes in health, women's security, manufacturing, agriculture and fisheries, which are belied by the available official facts and figures. There was absolutely no acknowledgement of the failure to achieve targets. There was no acknowledgement of the 27 protesters killed by the police, the mounting NPAs, the record pollution levels in our air and water, the increasing assaults on women, and the complete neglect of fishermen and coastal communities. Frankly, they are the people who are devastated by natural calamities, hurricanes, floods, coastal erosion, and depleting fish stocks, and the government just randomly announces a target that has no relation to reality and makes the Honorable President utter it. In 1947, we had a partition of the Indian soil. In 2020, this government is giving us a partition of the Indian soul. With the passing of far-reaching legislations such as dilution of the RTI Act, the UAPA Bill with its draconian measures, Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Bill, and the CAA, we are facing an existential threat to the future of our democracy and the freedoms that we have taken for granted since our independence from colonial rule over 75 years ago. To you, that is the old India, and you want to replace it with a hollow facade that you have dubbed the new India. In the old India, the fundamental premise that was ultimately forged was that of access to a historically inalienable sets of rights and freedoms. There was the freedom to choose what government you wanted, the freedom to choose what set of convictions to have, the freedom to choose what to wear, what to eat, what to drink, and to speak, the freedom to move freely within the sovereign borders of our republic, and the freedom to choose how and in what manner you would bow your head before your understanding of the force that guides the cosmos. All of these were freedoms enshrined in our Constitution and embedded not just in the letter of the law, but in the spirit of the Constitution and in the lived experience of India and its people. It is lamentable that those who followed us in government have not had the capacity, the vision, or the inclination to uphold this timeless legacy. Instead, in today's times, that vision of India is questioned by rising intolerance, in which the forces unleashed by our present rulers have appropriated the tools of the state to marginalize and exclude. Though their language is modern, they seek to take India backward, not forward. After all, they made no sacrifices to shape India's destiny, and for them our country is a plaything for the satisfaction of personal glories, for their narrow-minded ideology and their communal prejudices. Their modern jargon conceals pre-modern beliefs, and it is our duty in the opposition to pull away the hypocrisy and reveal the darkness lurking beneath. It was appalling and distressing to see this government actually make the president selectively quote the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, whose ideas they have willfully disregarded in an attempt to legitimize the desecration of the very national unity for which Mahatma Gandhi gave his life. The President's address quoted Mahatma Gandhi's statement that Hindus and Sikhs of Pakistan who did not wish to live there could come to India, and it was the duty of the government of India to ensure a normal life for them. Our Congress party supports that fully, but this quote was then used to make an absurd claim that the draconian Citizenship Amendment Bill was a fulfillment of the Mahatma's wishes. By merely reproducing a line without its context, the government has attempted yet another affront to a man who spent his lifetime advocating for Hindu-Muslim unity, a man who fought till the very end to resist the idea that religion should determine nationhood, which is sadly the idea they have embraced. Destruction is the path they want to take us on. Sir, I am anguished as I say these words. Guided by Mahatma Gandhi, we in the Congress party have historically committed ourselves to sustaining an idea of India that is fundamentally different from the thinking of those who rule us today. It is easy to forget the value of ideas and our responsibility to commit ourselves to the power of ideas. But ideas are powerful. Ideas speak truth to power. They challenge the status quo, and ultimately ideas have been responsible for taking our country out of darkness and to a position of pride and greatness in the world. We in the Congress party have always believed in an idea of India where the first and the last voice, the ones that resonate loudly and the ones that have been marginalized, are both equally important in determining the future of the country. Ours is the only party that has historically championed the principle that India is a land that belongs to all Indians, irrespective of caste, religion, region, language, or socio-economic status. For us, Inclusive India is more than just a slogan. It is an aspiration, an objective, and a commitment. It is our duty to keep alive the flame of our national idealism even in the darkest hour. If we accept without scrutiny, without question, and without challenge the fallacies and follies of today's short-sighted and narrow-minded leaders, we will leave for our children a land of injustice, a legacy of trauma, and a country divided and broken.